Okay, everybody, it's math time. We are in chapter 11 and we're ready for lesson 5. And we're still thinking about how we can measure objects and how we can relate customary measurements. Now, customary measurements we've been talking about for about a week now. Customary measurements are inches, feet, and yards. The new word here is relate. How can I relate customary measurements? And what that means is, how can I show that two things are the same? How can I show that two things are connected? So, for example, when you see a question like this, if it says the TV is 1 yard long, how many feet is it? Well, if you know it's 1 yard, hopefully you've got your measurements memorized and you know that 1 yard is also 3 feet. Okay, so that's relating measurements. Okay, now I might also ask you something like this: the TV is 1 yard long. How many inches is it? Okay, you have to do a little bit more thinking for that one. You already know that 1 yard equals 3 feet, and 1 foot is 12 inches. So you got to do it 3 times. 12 plus 12 plus 12. Okay, and if you've been following along and practicing, you know that that equals 36 inches. Okay, so this is relating measurements. Okay, thinking about a measurement using two different labels. If you know the yards, how many inches is it? If you know the inches, maybe how many feet is it? Okay, that's what we're going to be doing today. So a quick review of our vocabulary. Okay, we have a ruler, a yardstick, a tape measure, or it's measuring tape, an inch, a foot, a yard, customary measurements, to measure something, to estimate something, and to relate something. The only one on this field that's new is relate. That's what we're going to be spending our time on today. Okay, keep the rules in mind. Maybe it's a good idea to have a little card, maybe a little index card or a piece of paper that has these things written down so that you can check them when you get confused or when you can't remember. Okay, these will help you um, get through today's work. All right, so we are on page 671. Lesson 5 says relate inches, feet, and yards. Now, it's very important to remember what we did in the last lesson because some of us may not have these objects, or the objects that we have at home might not be the same. I'm going to be giving you some of the measurements and you'll just be completing them. Okay? So, it says here, find each object in the classroom, which we can't do, measure each object in inches, measure each object in feet. Well, let's look at this desk here, and I'm going to tell you that from one end to the other, it is 36 inches. Okay, now pause it if you need to. How many feet is that going to be if it's 36 inches? So you're going to have to do some adding. Okay, I'm going to show you the answer. 36 inches equals 3 feet. Now let's look at this storage bin here, or this bookcase, and we will need to know how far across that is, how wide that is. Let's say it's 24 inches. Pause if you need to, and then write down how many feet that is. 24 inches is the same as 2 feet. Okay, and the next one has a door. I think all of us have a door. And it wants to know how wide the door is. I'm going to put this number here, 48 inches. Try to think about how many feet that is. And if you need to pause and do some addition, that's okay. Okay, here's the answer. 48 inches is 4 feet. Okay, so this is relating measurements. This is what you're going to be doing today. Let's move on. So it says here, you can use different units of length to measure the same object. The hockey stick is 48 inches long. It is 4 feet long. And look at the helpful hint. That gives you the information that you really need to start memorizing. Okay, and we can test it out by doing 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12. That's 4 12s. If you add all of those up, you'll get 48 inches. Okay, now let's look at the objects here in the middle, at the bottom, I'm sorry. It says find each object, measure the length of each object twice. So if we were together, we would measure one time in feet and one time in yards, or one time in inches and one time in feet. What's going to happen here is I'm going to give you one of the measurements. Now, for this desk, I'm going to say that it is 6 feet wide. So you have to figure out how many yards that is. For number 2, I'm going to tell you that that is 3 feet high. And you have to figure out how many yards that is. And while you are doing that, let's take a look at the Talk Math at the bottom. If there are 12 inches in a foot and 3 feet in a yard, how many inches are in 1 yard? And we have talked about this already. Okay, I'm going to change the page. Okay, and now this is more of the same. It's asking about the height of this bookcase. I'm going to say that it is 3 feet tall. Okay, 3 feet high. Number 4, that's a notebook. And I'm going to say that that is 1 foot. It says feet there, but I'm going to change it to a double O. 1 foot. Okay, and you're going to tell me how many inches that is. The next one is the door, and I'm going to say that that door is 1 yard wide. For number 6, that's a seesaw. And I'm going to say that this seesaw is 4 yards long. For number 7, that's a slide, and we're measuring from the bottom step of the ladder to the bottom of the slide. And I'm going to say that that is 15 feet. And you have to figure out how many yards that is. Be careful. Here, they're talking about feet and yards. Okay? They're talking about yards and feet. Here, they're talking about inches and feet. So it's not the same every time. Make sure you always check the label. Okay, which is a good idea for anything that you're doing, not just math. Okay, and then number 8, we have a laptop there, and I'm going to say that that laptop is 12 inches wide. Okay, so now you make sure you have these on your paper, and you can go ahead and figure out the other measurement. All right, problem solving. Number 9. Sheridan's scooter is 3 feet long. Sage's scooter is 38 inches long. Whose scooter is longer? Think about that. Number 10. The low diving board is 8 feet long. The high diving board is 4 yards long. How many feet longer is the high diving board? Be careful. Wow, I can't believe that's not a brain builder. The low diving board is 8 feet long. The high diving board is 4 yards long. How many feet longer is the high diving board? So the way you're going to figure this one out is you've got to find a way to compare these. Maybe change them both to feet. 8 feet. We already have that. How many feet is 4 yards? Well, we know that 1 yard is 3 feet. So 2 yards would be 6 feet. 9 yards would be 12 feet. So we've got 12 feet for the high diving board and 8 feet for the low diving board. How many feet longer is the high diving board? Do you think this is going to be an addition or subtraction problem? I think you know this, and I think you can finish it from here. Number 11. Now we get a brain builder. Let's see. The green bike is 1 yard long. The yellow bike is 38 inches long. Which bike is shorter? Explain your answer to a friend. Make sure you're paying extra attention to the question. Which bike is shorter? The last time we saw a question like this, we wanted to know which one was longer. Okay, and then finally, explain how the measurements of an object change depending on which unit you use to measure. So if we say that 36 inches is the same as 3 feet, I'm going to put the double marks there for inches and the single mark there for feet, which is the same as 1 yard. These are all the same. But what changes? Well, when we have a small unit, we have a big number. When we have a big unit, we have a smaller number. Okay, so think about that. When we're comparing inches and yards, the inches number is always going to be bigger because inches are so much smaller. Okay, let's move on, and you know that you have to finish all of these problems. Your homework is pages 675 and 676. And just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and give you some of the measurements. Okay, 675. The homework helper at the top says you can use different units of length to measure the same object. The rope is 21 feet long. It is 7 yards long. That's the same, okay? Because 21 feet, it would be the same as 7 yards, 7 yardsticks. Each one is 3 feet long. So, for the sofa that we see here in number 1, I'm going to say that it is 5 yards. So you have to figure out how many feet. And for the bed, I'm going to say that it is, I'm going to say that it's 9 feet. And for this table here, I'm going to say that it's, I'm going to say that it's 4 feet tall. So make sure you're writing my numbers down on your paper. Okay, for number 4, I'm going to say that that is 24 inches wide. And I will say that that refrigerator is 6 feet tall. Okay, there's a helpful hint on there that'll help you again. So, good luck with these. And I know it's going to require some thinking. Keep your basic facts in mind and do your best. And remember, you have a lot of strategies that can help you. You can add many numbers. You can do 3 plus 3 plus 3 or 12 plus 12 plus 12 or something like that. You might even use grouping. You can draw things out. Okay, we've come up with many strategies in the past for doing something like this. So, good luck and have a great day. The end.